All right, so my name is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit podcast, episode number 3. Today we have a wonderful guest. I'm stoked to have him here. All my guests are wonderful, but this guy's been a friend of mine since the end of 2016. He's also been my barber since the end of 2016. I've seen him probably on a weekly basis since then, basically.
At least, yeah.
And he's the best barber in town, but he's got an amazing coming to be an entrepreneur story, owning his own shop called Iconic Culture Barbershop in Mount Juliet, the number 1 rated barbershop in town after how long?
60 days in, we got voted best barbershop in the city.
60 days, you got the best. I mean, that says a lot about it right there, and it's one of a kind. I partnered up with him on this opportunity, and I said, hey, do your freaking thing.
No
I trust
back,
it all.
No regrets.
No regrets.
No regrets.
And he's taken it full speed and made it a very special place. And we'll get into more detail about that. But yeah, go ahead and introduce yourself, man.
Man, I'm Landon, like he said. I've been cutting hair in the Nashville area for 9 years. I opened my own. We opened, the first official day was December 6th. And it's been a blessing and nonstop growth. A lot of hurdles that you don't understand at first until you get off in it.
Yeah.
But it's like a new endeavor, so it's like you're never ever gonna be ready. I guess you just gotta kind of.
Hey man, entrepreneurship.
Jump in,
There's hurdles and no matter what route you take, right? You're getting off, starting off. There's gonna be problems that come up.
And
You're
it's
what the hell is going on?
A lot of little things that you don't think about. It's your day-to-day operations, toilet paper costs, things like that you don't think about, and then you just you dive in unexpectedly, and it's been great. We got 9 barbers in there full time. So if you need an appointment or a walk-in, just come holler at us, man. We'll take care of you.
Well, fortunately for me, I got the hookup. I get a free weekly cut for life.
For life. For life.
So I got it made.
You've
man.
established that.
Was
well earned.
I was like, hey man, handshake on this.
Yeah, that was a well-earned thing. I mean, shit. Not a lot of people would do what you did. You know?
Man. Yeah, we'll go into that part of it all too. I mean, but yeah, I love it. You always got me looking good. If I didn't have Landon, I'd look like a dump, man.
Look a bum, yeah.
Speaking of toilet paper costs, you're lucky I don't work there or something, because with me,
Dude Wipes.
Oh,
that needs to be a sponsor of yours, Dude Wipes.
Yeah, Dude Wipes are expensive, man. So I go the Huggies route.
You go the Huggies?
Huggies, man, they're just as good.
I'm sure your wife loves it.
Yeah, she's
her future wife. Sorry.
We got a whole closet dresser, shelf full. She's like, Huggies on deck. That's how we roll. Yeah. So that's my fault, but it is what it is. Yeah. All right, so you've been cutting hair. So before we get into what brought you to becoming a barber, I mean, because you obviously know what you're doing and you're very skilled at it. Tell us a little bit about your backstory. Tell us about your childhood a little bit, and kind of go through that and what you into.
From a very young age, I always had I don't want to say entrepreneur mindset, but just a hustling mindset. I was always trying to make money. I had a good 2-parent household. I had a mom, I had a good dad, but I gravitated.
Shout out to Frank.
Yeah, R.I.P. Frank and Tracy. I gravitated towards a certain lifestyle. I remember certain stories. I got in trouble in 3rd grade. My mom packed a very good lunch for me, and I sold it all the time because kids in my school had money. And so from a very early point, I was selling Cokes, because we weren't allowed to have Cokes in elementary school. You couldn't buy them from the vending machine. So kids were like, hey, I'll buy that. And I was like, of course. So I figured out there's ways I can make money. And I remember Miss Bender, my principal at W.A. Wright Elementary in Mount Juliet, shout out to her. I got in trouble for selling my lunch to other kids because their parents would be like, hey, my kid didn't eat. He said he bought this from a student and he paid $5 for a canned Coke. It was just, it was price gouging.
That reminds me of the deployment, man. Someone gets some cigarettes shipped to them. It's like, I'll sell you a pack for $25. It's all right,
it's like prison commerce.
I guess I'll buy a pack of cigarettes for $25.
It's like commentary in prison. It's like hotcakes.
You do what you can.
And even from 7th grade, I gravitated towards that to selling candy. I used to go to Sam's and buy candy all the time and would sell it. And then I got hooked up with this guy outside of Rivergate Mall. He had these gold necklaces with charms. It was when No Limit and Cash Money Records was in style. I'd buy all these necklaces for $20, sell them for $40. And these kids,
How old were you when you did this?
8th or 9th grade. Yeah,
Nice,
I had Cash Money, No Limit, stuff like that. And people were, it was $20. It was cheap, obviously fake.
I got in trouble for trading Pokemon cards too hard. That was about it.
For real?
Yeah, I wasn't like a hustler like that, and for a very long time at least. So, but yeah, that's funny as hell.
I mean, and like that lifestyle, it kind of gravitated towards other things as you got older. The whole hustling mindset.
Yeah.
You got drugs, you got women, and that's a lifestyle that I kind of gravitated towards. It wasn't intentional. It wasn't nothing. Other than I saw opportunity to make money.
Yeah.
I had a good, like I said, I had a good upbringing, man. It
Yeah.
was, my dad, they kept me in church, but.
You didn't listen.
No,
Dude. And that's what we talked about this.
Yeah.
You know my parents, and I've had a solid upbringing. And I'm like,
yeah,
I went all the way on the other side of things.
And that's how it is, man. It's like your parents, I remember my mom being very, very like strict on certain things. Like I wasn't allowed to watch The Simpsons as a kid.
My mom did the same thing.
Like a terrorist. Like, what are you doing? Like, I can't watch The Simpsons. That's, come on. I couldn't listen to certain music in front of her. My dad, on the other hand, he was not oblivious. He just pick and chose his battles on what to do. And I remember, when I was a kid, I was probably in like 9th grade, and they were telling me how bad weed was and all this. And then I tried it, and I was like, yo, this ain't that bad at all.
Yeah. Weed's actually pretty nice.
Yeah,
It's good stuff.
And so it made you feel like that if they say this, then what's on the other side? Because that wasn't that bad. It's like they're trying to keep you from like, I don't know, opportunity or having fun. So I just ran with it the other way.
I think they're just trying to protect, like all parents, they just want to protect their kids. And like, because parents, they see kids are going to school and, behind them, and like so the way I look in my eyes, I look at their younger generation, I'm like, damn, there's a lot of crazy stuff they have to go through.
Yeah.
Like it's evolved. So our parents are probably like, dang, our kids are seeing some wilder stuff, and it's just like evolved over time. So they're like, shelter them or like do something, My mom, she once caught me and my friend listening to a Busta Rhymes cassette tape, and she grabbed it and she listened to it, and she was just like, oh my, like she broke it. She was like, this is horrible. And she took me to the Christian Bible store, dude, and she made me get like
Christian
rap, bro. And I was like, nothing against, Christians or whatever, nothing against that, but the Christian rap's horrible.
Yeah, it's terrible.
Or at least that was. I was listening to it and I was like, my mom has screwed me, man.
Yeah,
like,
what are you rapping about?
Where's the real music at?
Yeah, what are you rapping about?
It was a depressing stage. But she came around, long story short. So
now you listen to death metal instead.
Yeah, my mom I've been at a death metal concert with my parents. It's awesome.
Life is full circle.
Yeah, well, it's witchcraft, dude. I just bring them to the darkness. That's what I do. You know what I'm saying? That's what I told somebody yesterday. I was like, I'm just a witch.
People listening are like, dude, that dude's a witch, man. Don't do that.
His mom's listening to death metal and shit now. Like she was a
lady.
holy woman, and now look at her. Yeah, people get weirded out.
Negative influences sometimes.
Yeah, I know, right? But so you kind of took off, went your own way with everything.
Yeah, man, and I and that's the thing is like certain people, certain entrepreneurs, they have like certain tics in their brain. And like that's what, like with sports, when you're a child, man, you have no idea the importance of sports. Like constructive sports, man, it keeps kids out of trouble.
Yep.
It teaches them to compete. And you learn how to lose, and you learn that taste of winning. Yeah. And I think if you look at a lot of kids these days, a lot of them, they got the pose now is like their iPhone on their belly. It's like I call it the millennial kid. It's like they got their iPad and their belly sticking out. Yeah. And they don't have sports and they're lost, man. That's why a lot of kids are, they're obsessed right now with like depression and like all this crazy stuff. Yeah. They're making up problems.
I can't even recall being like having instant depression.
Hey, what are you depressed about, dude? Get on TikTok, shut up.
Dude, I just wanted to be like Stone Cold when I was a kid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, see, that was real. Like wrestling back then, and I remember when I found out wrestling wasn't real, I was heartbroken. Yeah, I was pissed.
I mean, it's real. I tell you what, the security for some wrestling, like
you can't fake gravity, bro.
Dude, and they had me practicing though, so I was doing security because it was just a good paying gig, and I was like, screw it, right? And they had me practicing the moves, like slamming yourself back. I almost gave myself a concussion. I was like, man, this is like some shit,
You can't fake
bro.
Gravity, and accidents happen. You know, we did backyard wrestling when I was like a kid. You know, just sometimes you'd accidentally really punch somebody.
Yeah, like those,
you know?
it's pretty physically exhausting and it beats you up for sure. You're not like full contact, like knocking people out.
No, but you're taking lumps, man.
But yeah, it definitely takes some balls to do.
Yeah, and look at those dudes. A lot of those dudes are on like testosterone, yoke, just massive dudes. Imagine getting smacked by one of those.
Yeah,
guys,
I mean,
you know?
and or they flip off of the corner.
Yeah, they jump off the turnbuckle, hit you with an elbow.
Even
like,
if they land a different way, it's still going to
Bro,
feel good.
I don't care however you do it. If someone hits you with an elbow and they're jumping off the rope, that's going to hurt.
It's going to
fucking hurt, man.
So, all right.
My bad.
No, we're good, dude. Yeah. That's okay. We're gonna go off on tangents, and that's just
and okay, back to sports, and like that's why like kids like I like the sports aspect of like life, and I think a lot of kids need sports. They need controlled chaos, if you will,
and competition.
Yeah,
competition and learning how to like win or lose, and having to deal with like loss.
Absolutely.
And like also overcoming and winning and earning, but you earned it.
Yeah,
it's not given to you.
And I played football and basketball when I was younger, and that's the normal kid sports. I played baseball, and then as I got older, in middle school, I found wrestling, and that's when it was like, I was like, whatever the fuck this is it, because. Like basketball, you play your ass off the whole game, and if it comes on the line, and let's say you miss a shot, we lose the game, but I worked my ass off, and so I always felt like it was very, not unfair, but it was like, it wasn't you competing against somebody else. It was like you had a team, you could compete one-on-one.
Yeah.
But like wrestling, man, it was like if you didn't put in the work, like it showed.
It's all on you.
You got your ass whooped, it showed.
And dude, you know what? So I grew up playing team sports. I did wrestling for a little bit in middle school and just didn't stick with it. But football was my thing mainly. And but yeah, team sports are great because you learn how to work with other people in order to achieve a goal. I think that's necessary too. But like over the past several years, I've gotten big into fighting, and like I'm big. Like boxing's my baby right now. I love the bare knuckle stuff. I love striking, but it's teaching me this. Martial arts is great, and like wrestling's in that realm. Because it's individual. You're not learning how to work with a team. Like it's good to have both sides, but you're learning how to like you fucking lose, then you're looking around, you're like, shit, I suck. There's no one to blame but me.
That Tyson quote. Everybody has a plan until they get punched in the mouth.
Yes, dude. So individual sports are just as important. I think you need to do both, to learn how to adapt to both ends.
Absolutely. I think, and there's Urban Meyer, he coached at Florida, Ohio State. He's a very successful coach, and he has a rule. If a kid that he's recruiting he was a college football coach, now he's in Jacksonville. But if a kid is only a one-sport athlete, he won't recruit them. He wants people to play multi-sports, And that, variety. I think absolutely. You're not like conditioned to one thing. You have, you can think outside the box.
Yeah, you have a vast array of like.
Yeah, and that's why like with wrestling, man, it was just like this. When I found it, man, I never looked back. You know, it was like, this is it, man. You could literally hurt people for 6 minutes. If you lasted 6 minutes, and 7 if you went to overtime, and if you lasted that long, and you won, you got your hand raised, like can't nobody take that shit from you, like at all. Like if you didn't put in the work, like I remember running as a kid, getting up early, putting a trash bag on to make weight, running downstairs with the fireplace on a treadmill. And it just, like, I knew that there weren't other kids that were working as hard as I was.
Yeah.
So it gave you, like, a little bit of an edge against other people. And the cool thing is, like, you can have this person that's, normally outside of, there's some people that I had no business beating. They were, very masculine and, big. They'd be like a senior and I was a freshman.
But you put in the fucking work.
Yeah, I put in the work, man, and it was very rewarding when you whooped them.
Yeah.
And I tried to learn how to wrestle when I was younger. And then as I got older, I kind of developed this philosophy that, like, you can wrestle and be very technical, but another good thing about it is if you get in somebody's face, like, full speed for 6 minutes, and just in their face, like, grinding, you'll break their will eventually.
Yeah. And there's something to be said, man, and that's a good topic, is the outworking other people.
Yeah.
Because, there's millions of people that start businesses. Are they willing to just like suffer for a while and not make money for a while until they break through? Are they willing to dedicate that time? are you willing to put in the extra hours to like actually succeed with, you know, wrestling or whatever? Perfect example. I trained this dude, Tanner, killer dude. He's up at Phoenix MMA, loves jiu-jitsu. He trains jiu-jitsu like twice a day, at least every single day, pretty much. I think he said like 6 days a week, a lot of times twice a day. But he hit me up not long ago, and he's like, hey, man, I want to take it to the next level. Like, I want to come train with you. Yeah. And so, like, he started coming here, man. I beat the hell out of him. Oh, my God, I'm doing the sleds like crazy. Just doing shit that, like, you know.
Out of his element, yeah.
Hundreds of squats, dude, like, with a barbell, like, just blasting them. And I know he's going to do it because he does jiu-jitsu competitively. So I'm like, all right, this guy's, it's not going to be hard. He's going to do what he's got to do. And, but he, you know, he had a tournament a couple weeks ago, and he's like, bro, I crushed it. Got gold. He said, but I was winning fast. And he's like, and I felt so much better condition. I was like, because he's putting in those extra steps that nobody else is doing.
It was easy.
Yeah. And he's above and beyond, and he's going to keep doing that. So I think it's freaking awesome, man. And that goes with anything you do, man. Like, you know, like I remember during when the COVID shit started off, you know, and like you had people coming in all day to your garage.
In the garage,
cutting hair. You're cutting hair. You're like, dude, I guess I gotta, you know, why am I gonna sit on my ass? I'm gonna do.
Yeah, and that was like very satisfying. Like, in the midst of chaos, can you adapt? Like, and it was, you know, it wasn't intentional. It was kind of, I'm glad it happened when it happened. But it also showed me that, like, dude, like, you got a good following. You've put in the work behind the chair, and that's why people are literally coming to your garage. Now, don't get me wrong, it was a nice garage. It had air conditioning, you know, it wasn't like, you know, a garage.
Oh yeah, I was over there.
Yeah, you know. So it was cool because you saw that people were willing to go with you to this new place you're at. You know, they were still unsure. I didn't sign that lease until May on that property, and it was dirt, you know, before they even built it. And so, you know, people talk, and it's like, you know, I had this guy, he said something to me about the other day at the shop. He was like, I remember when you were cutting my hair in the garage, you were talking about opening your own spot. And he said it verbatim, and he was like, to be honest, I just thought you were just talking shit. And I was like, what do you mean? He was like, because he was like, people say they're going to do this and do that. Yeah. And he was like, they don't do it. So I just thought you were just going to cut hair in your garage forever, and you were just going to be that guy that always talked about opening up a shop. Yeah. And he said, then you fucking did it. And he was like, look, man. He was like, you followed up. He was like, to be honest, I just thought I was cool with coming with you in the garage. A lot of people are like, bro, I miss the garage haircuts, you know?
Well, you know, you just get that one-on-one. It's
more intimate, and like.
But the environment you've created at Iconic is one of a kind. And like I said, we're going to get there. So, yeah. But like I said, you learned how to adapt, and your work showed because you were able to still succeed working out of your garage. So team sports, you know, you learned all that. So moving forward, man, what other things did you get into, like, you know, leading up to? I some trouble there.
I got into a lot of trouble. I gravitated towards it for whatever reason, a certain lifestyle. I think a lot of it was I was just an undisciplined idiot. You know, wrestling, I was very disciplined. I had structure. And then after that, it's like, you know, you went to college for your everything you work for, and then all of a sudden you're not wrestling in college anymore. It's like, what are you going to do? And I just had all that energy, and I didn't have anywhere to put it. Yeah. So it led me into drugs, women, like certain lifestyles. Yeah, I first started, you know, smoking weed, normal, and then it started with pills, you know, just eating pills out of boredom. And then, you know, while you're in that chaos, you can't really see how you're acting. You know, you don't know, like, man, I can remember I got millions of stories about me just talking crazy to my mom. Like, she'd find my drugs, and I'm like, how dare you go through my shit, you know? And my dad, you know, one day, shout out to some of my friends that were in that lifestyle, he came downstairs, and I was selling weed to make money. And I'd had like a half a pound, you know, this was some Reggie the Brick back in the day. Oh, yeah. And he walks downstairs, and I'm in his house.
I don't even know if that stuff still exists.
No, it's like, it's hard. Yeah, everybody's like, no, I can't find that. It's like, well, I don't want it anyways. But he came downstairs, and he saw it was like half a pound, and he just shook his head, and he went back upstairs, and I'll never forget this conversation we had. And I went back upstairs, and he was like, he handed me a suitcase, so you need to pack your shit and get out. I was like, wow, I'm making money. He was like, you're not going to do it like that in my house. This is my house. You're disrespecting me. Get the fuck out. And my brother had a house in Hermitage. And so I went and lived with, it was like him, a couple of his roommates. And, you know, I didn't know anything about rent, you know. And it came to, he was like, bro, what do you got on the rent? And I was just like, what do you mean, bro? I'll give all y'all free weed. Like, I thought that was cool. And it's like, no, man. So I remember I came like crawling back to my dad, and it was like towards the end of my senior year in high school. And I started, you know, kind of trying to get out of that lifestyle. And of course it worked for like 2 weeks and right back at it. And, you know, I just remember always having money in my pocket, but I'd always spend it too because I was also eating a lot of pills.
Yeah, and that'll drain your pocket too.
Dude, and you either wake up with a pocket full of nothing or a pocket full of shit that's not yours. You're like, how did I get 10 lighters?
And you don't pay attention to you don't pay attention to your actions, man. Like, I'm so lucky I never got like locked up. I tell people this all the time because when I went to college the first time around, like I partied in high school, but I was just a typical jock. You know, I smoked a little weed, I drank, you know, hung out with girls, played sports, you know, but I never got like too crazy. And then I went to college, and it was just like,
yeah.
And
you were like unsupervised.
Yeah, I started hanging out with the local dealer, you know. And next thing you know, I'm in like the hood, like drinking 40s with like my hanging, you know, like, but I'm in like a polo with like sliders on. Like I don't fit in, but I am also like the token white boy.
Yeah.
But yeah, and it's like, oh man, you know, I'm like getting all these pills. And but then I was too broke for it, so it's like, all right, hey Joe, I need you to run all this stuff over to this part of town. You know, sketchy shit, dude. I'd be sitting in the car. I'd have dudes coming out of apartments, like just surrounding my vehicle, just like, what's this boy doing right here? Yeah, and I was just like, oh my gosh, and I'm like some preppy white dude, like just not
naive,
like, man.
Yeah.
But you know what? At the end of the day, I got my pills, you know, and like this is the shit you do out of desperation, really, and you don't even think about it. It's like, all right, I guess I will.
It's chaos. But it's chaos, man, and it's. That whole lifestyle, and especially when you get into other drugs like heroin and meth, and man, I'm glad that stuff wasn't like big when I was in that lifestyle. Because, dude, you know, I know a lot of people that our age, they're in that lifestyle still, or they've died. You know, from
a lot of people are still on the pills too, and you know, this is a good conversation too, because like for people that are like have been through that. And still kind of like feeling those repercussions from, you know, that lifestyle, or are going through that.
Dude, yeah,
they can see like where you and I are at with our lives and be like, shit, man.
I was a piece of shit.
I can make it out. Oh yeah, same
I was a piece of shit for a long time, man.
I hated myself.
Yeah, and that's the thing is you tell yourself you don't, and while you're doing that, you're literally killing yourself, and you're you're killing your dreams, and I just really didn't give a fuck. Yeah. Just to be real, I didn't care.
I felt like such a loser. I remember being at a friend's apartment. I hung out with like some of my friends. They were like nursing majors, and some of my friends on the track teams that we all hung out in this. We had like a little group. And everybody like partied and stuff, but I was like the pill headed.
Yeah.
And I remember like I'll never forget. For some reason, I remember telling everybody like, guys, I quit pills, and everybody like celebrated for me. They're like, yeah, Joe. And then like 2 days later, dude, I'm like scrounging for change, dude. I'm like
right back
out of my mind, and it's just like it's so sickening, bro. It controls every aspect
of
your life.
And those are, pharmaceutical that's a whole nother. You can go down the whole rabbit hole with that, but like it's. That stuff, man, it gets a hold of you, and it just...
Screw big pharma.
Yeah, it grabs you, man, and it chemically alters your brain, the way you think, and a lot of these kids nowadays, that's normal for them. Pills aren't nothing, I remember when we were, like, probably 9th grade, it was like pills were like, oh, shit, know. We'd steal my grandma's Valiums. I remember this one time, man, it was a family Christmas, and my grandma... She was a hypochondriac, she'd stub her toe, she'd have cancer. But she had all types of like anti-anxiety medicines. And this was like when the internet was like first kicking off. So I would just get on the internet and read for hours. And I would take all her pill bottles and I would see which ones had like drowsiness side effects. And
you're like, yeah.
And I remember there's this video, man, and me and my brother, we took a bunch of Valiums, man, and I was in probably like 8th grade. And I don't remember Christmas at all that year. Like, there's videos of me and my brother, like, passed out on the couch, just...
Terrible, right?
Yeah, dude.
And that's the thing, you lose so many memories.
Yeah, I was in fucking 8th grade, and it was like,
shit.
Yeah.
God, dude.
It was like, it was Christmas in 8th grade, yeah, when I was going into 9th. It was fucking terrible. Like I said, I was a piece of shit. Yeah, I was a piece of shit for a long time.
Terrible middle school kid.
Yeah, I was a piece of shit for a long time, man. And then afterwards, man, I got out of high school... tried the whole college wrestling thing, didn't really work. I got freedom, went crazy with the W's, the whiskey, the weed, the women.
Yeah.
Still have some of those issues. But like, and that was the thing is like I shifted from little bitty bullshit to, all right, now you got to make a career of this lifestyle. And I got addicted to that lifestyle, the money. I got arrested, I spent a little time, I got still, I had all the time in the world to think, and I came back out and didn't change me.
You're like,
it's
man, I'm going to change. And you get back out, you're like,
fuck this. Yeah, fuck this, man, And it sucks because, when I sat in there, man, when you're in a Metro Nashville, before they classify you, you're in a gymnasium, and I was in there for assault on an officer and violation for selling weed and shit. And you're in there with people that are literally, the guy above me was in there for armed robbery and attempted murder. Until you get classified, you're in the gym and you're on a bunk bed or you're on the ships. And the ships are they're makeshift beds that they put around outside. Dude, it was fucking chaos. There was literally 5 officers to 500 people in there. And it's just like a revolving door. And they classify you, if you're a violent offender, you go here. If you're non-violent, you go there. If you got less than 5, you go here.
But for a while, you're waiting. You're just with everybody.
Yeah, you're with everybody, and it's chaos. And the crazy thing is these motherfuckers watch cops the whole time. It's like what the fuck you watching yourself getting arrested for?
Yeah, that's me, bro.
Yeah, and it's I
made it.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And while I was in there, all I ever heard was old war stories. Oh, they did this and that. And then you're in your mind, you're like, bro, I don't belong here. Fuck this, man, I don't belong here. And then as soon as you get out, a couple months, you're like, yeah, I'm going to change. You get out and you're right back at it.
And you're like, man, maybe I do belong there. I need to fucking straighten out.
And it's I'm not that bad. And it's actually, motherfucker, you probably are.
Yeah, yeah. It's something you got to get straightened out. I mean, people do get locked up for petty shit, but,
that's a whole nother. We can talk podcast.
We'll do other podcasts.
About the prison system.
But real quick break. Cool?
Yeah.
All right. Real quick. We got our sponsors, or advertisements, whatever you want to call them. Number 1, Relentless Pursuit. That's the name of this podcast, Relentless Pursuit Podcast. Check us out, Relentless_Pursuit, RelentlessPursuitLifestyle.com. Check out the apparel. You know about the message if you've been following this for any sort of time. If you don't know much, go to those pages and
check
read
your story
into
out.
It.
Really cool.
But for our special guest, I want to advertise Iconic Culture Barbershop. Landon, tell us about Iconic Culture a little bit. Or just a quick ad. Just say, hey, this is what we do. And we're going to go into detail about Iconic Culture, though.
Are you tired of being left on red? Messages dry? Is she ignoring you? We have a solution. Come get a haircut. It could change your life. 282 Nonneville Road. IconicCultureBarbershop.com. Book your appointments or continue to be left on red.
And I'll tell you what. He's right. I mean, I've been going there, like I said, since 2016.
I got a fresh haircut yesterday, bro, and I was like, bro, I need to go be seen somewhere.
Every time I walk out of the barbershop, I'm like, ha ha. I do the Spice Adams laugh. I'm like, ha ha.
It's true, man.
And I point. I'm like, yeah, you see it. And I'm pointing at people. I'm like, check this out.
A good
My boy
haircut,
Landon.
yeah. A good haircut, man. It's crazy. It can change you.
My hair doesn't even get crazy over a week, but I'm like, oh my god, I look like shit. Kate's like, Joe, calm down. You look fine. And I'm like, no, I gotta go. I can't wait to see Landon tomorrow.
You gotta, people, until you get it, until you know. If you know, you know.
Check him out though. Best barbershop in town, hands down. All right, guys, welcome back to keep it going. We were on the drug addiction phase.
Yes, drug addiction laden.
Very relevant for both of us.
Yeah, and I wasn't a good person, man. I made decisions based on my need to get drugs that day, and that's what's you have this whole chaos of getting drugs, and then as soon as you get them, it's what do you do now? I was unproductive. I was, I had a kid at the time, and she was 7 or 8 months, man. And that's what was scary. The best probably word to describe me as a father, the first year of her life is probably absent, Yeah. And that shit still weighs on my conscience, bro. I think about that shit every fucking day of my life. Yeah. You weren't there for certain things, or you don't remember. I was present, but I wasn't there. I was on pills, you're spacey. And I remember I went to a rehab, man, and I went to rehab because that's what you're supposed to do, right? And it's I didn't really want to get clean. I just wanted people to get off my ass,
Yeah.
I was looking at another violation, so you got to play the system. And I went to this rehab, man, and it was just, I went from addicted to drugs to like having sex with girls that were there. And it's like, you know, you take one addiction away and it's like you go to another one. And that's like another fault of mine is like, that's a whole nother podcast is like women we could talk about. So I went to that place in rehab and it was cool. And I came back and like 3 months later, old Landon rears his head again, you know, just eating drugs, just chaos, man. And this time it escalated, man. I was, you know, there's times that I showed up to my house, like I was passed out behind the wheel, the car doors and drive, you know, just lucky that you don't kill somebody along this journey, man. Like, I mean, shit, think about your wreck, dude. Like, you know, I could have easily killed somebody, man. You don't think about that. Yeah, you don't think about those things, man. And
especially when you're younger, man, you don't.
And I remember a very distinctive story that sticks out in my mind is kind of was like, you need to change. A friend of mine was dating a stripper at the time, and we would go to the strip club, and we'd hang out, you know, do drugs, hang out with girls, and we were leaving, and it was like 7 or 8 in the morning. And I'll never forget this feeling. You know, it was cold, and I remember we were leaving. It was like 7:30, you know, 8 in the morning. You feel like shit. You're going to bed. And I remember driving, and I was seeing families, like, going to church. And it was kind of like an awakening moment. Like, bro, what do you, like, you got a kid. Like, you're a father. Like, what are you doing? Like, you know, it's like, why are you not there? Why are you not doing this? And I remember that feeling. It still wasn't enough to change me, you know, right then. Yeah. But then I remember I got into a lot of trouble. And my cousin Victor, I got in a situation that I needed to get out of. Yeah. Like, life or death. Yeah, like bad. And he dropped everything he was doing, and he came and picked me up, and he drove me straight to Chattanooga and checked me into this place. And I got away from everybody for probably like 2 or 3 months, and I just found out that my dad was sick. He gotten pancreatic cancer, and this was like all in a 2-month window. And I remember I was looking at facing time because violation after violation. I caught new charges selling drugs, and I remember coming home and had to go to court. And I remember going to court, my dad being sick. I remember this, and luckily, I had a good lawyer, Frank Lanham. Shout out to him in Wilson County. You know, he worked his magic, and I got a lot of time served for my rehab, the stint in the rehab. And then they just kicked me back out on probation. And it was, you know, a strict probation. It was like probably like a 3 or 4 year period. Yeah. And, you know, drug test at first, like once a week. And I remember I had to live at a halfway house, which was completely
I bet that was interesting, yeah.
Humbling. Everything I owned, you know, was in a trash bag, like to my name. And you're living that chaotic life, you don't think about that shit. Like, it's just like, cool. But when you get still, when you get sober, and you're dealing with all the shit that you haven't...
You're looking around.
Yeah, and you're dealing with all the shit that you haven't dealt with. And I see why people relapse, because they get sober. Yeah, and it's like, you know, those problems aren't exclusive to you. And it's like, when you get still, you still have to deal with that reality of the stuff that you...
fucked up cycle.
Yeah, that you haven't done. And instead of like, you know, I got it tattooed on me, don't quit. And instead of that's what they do. They quit. And it's like, bro, like you just... The problem is like everybody's dealing with shit, you know, and you get sober and you start getting these feelings for the first time. You don't know how to handle them. You don't know how to process them. And I remember my dad was like terminally sick, man. And I remember this story, and is when I left the halfway house just in the middle of the night. I went and saw my dad. And he was at my house. He's on hospice. And he looks at me dead in the face and said, "Son, I'm dying." And I remember seeing all these people come visit my dad in the hospital. He looks at me dead in the fucking face and says, "How do you want to be remembered?" He said, "If you die tomorrow, what will people say about you?" And he said, "I'm balanced with you. They'd say you're a piece of shit, you're a drug addict, and you live this crazy lifestyle.
Holy shit,
and you have a father." All right, he's like, "You're a father. Your daughter, what's she going to do?" You know, and that moment...
That was real.
Yeah, dude, it fucking changed me, man. Like, bro, like chills right now. Like
I'm feeling that.
Yeah, that shit changed me, man. And I went back to I violated curfew at the halfway house, and because I was out past. And then after my time was up at that house, I just fucking left, and I wanted to be around my dad. Like, me and my dad had a good relationship growing up.
Because you knew it was getting to that
man.
point
And he had pancreatic cancer, and but we thought, at first I was dealing with being sober, dealing with that. I just think about all the shit I put my mom through, man. Like, her husband, her best friend's dying, and I'm over here in the streets being a fucking idiot. I love you, Mom.
That's a lot of pressure, yeah.
And those last 6 months I spent, 5-6 months I spent with my dad sober is like some of the most knowledge, rough, and I learned a lot about myself, man. Like, I saw my dad dying, I saw the people that he impacted in his life. Like, I remember his funeral, man. It was like a mob funeral, just cars lined up, man. He was a good hustler. He owned a business. And he owned his own business. It was an insurance agency, and he was very successful. But what made his business successful was him. And I remember we had all these conversations, and it was like, when you're younger, you have these conversations with your dad. It's kind of like weird, But now it's like I'm trying to be a man, and I'm trying to have these conversations late that I should have had earlier. I should have been present. And he taught me a lot, man. And he taught me a lot with his example and how people treated him when he was dying. That's what showed me more than anything. And I remember when he died, man, everything. I remember the smells. I remember, I got a scar on my arm the day before he died.
And you weren't on drugs at that point.
No, I was sober.
If it would have been that, if you were, you may not remember those things.
And the thing was, it was uncomfortable.
Yeah. And
I remember I wanted to set in it. I hadn't felt anything in a long, long time, man. You don't feel nothing. You're numb. You're on drugs. And I remember the night he died, and that's what the beautiful thing was. The night he died, I was there. He died in my hands, man. You know what I'm saying? I was there for my dad. I didn't run. I hesitated. A little bit. And there's a lot of regrets with stuff like that. CPR didn't work. There's a lot of things that night, but I very vividly remember sitting in that moment. And I remember the smell. I remember the shoes I had on. I remember the shirt I had on. I had black jeans on. I had a DC shoes that were in style. I had a black DC shirt on. I had DC shoes. I remember this very vividly. And when he died, man, like everybody came in and they kind of like looked at me. He was throwing up all the stuff. And like I set him on my lap when he's choking and his heart rate's just fucking going 1,000 miles an hour. Boom, 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 boom. And he's, like tense. And all of a sudden he goes from like throwing up and everything and all your heartbeat, and it just starts slowing down and you just feel like life just leaving. And he goes from like, this to just there. And I remember there's probably like a 3-minute period. I panicked like a little child, man. I didn't know what to do. And he laid on the ground and there's like throw up, or like he was going through chemo. So it was like this green stuff and the smell. And my mom walks in, she's holding my daughter, and I remember looking at my daughter and looking at my dad, and it's like, this could have easily been you, and your daughter could have seen this. You could have died of a drug overdose, all that.
Bro, that realization, man, that's fucking powerful, bro. And that's heavy, man. And God, I feel it, dude. That is a very powerful story, man. And it's part of your journey, man. And your dad would be, just to say, your dad would be so fucking proud of you now, dude. And like I know Frank's fucking stoked to see what you're doing. I know he sees it, man. And that's amazing. Just so you know. So
thanks, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And from that time point on, I was a different person. I was an angry person for a while because you carry a lot of guilt. But I can honestly look at people and say this: I didn't use drugs or drink for I think it was like almost 3 years after that. I didn't touch anything. I was kind of an angry person, like a kid. I was mad at the world for a while. And luckily, man, my daughter, I was repairing that relationship. She was 2, almost 2. And I gravitated towards that. And she was like a big light in my life, man. I knew I couldn't fuck up. I knew, like, hey, bro, like, this is on you. She's a girl. If you're not there, what girls with daddy issues, what happens with that whole thing. So, So, like, I gravitated towards, and I became obsessed with
I said that like I knew too well.
Yeah. I became obsessed with being, like, a good father. And, like, that's the thing is, like, everybody that's drug addicts, like, you have a certain tick in your brain. Like, think about that. People that are pieces of shit drug addicts, think about that. It's like, bro, you're a great drug addict. Like, imagine if you flip that energy and put it into something constructive. You would be successful at it.
I'm pretty sure we mentioned this on every podcast or everything I've been on. How do you channel that addiction?
Yeah. And
channel it into productivity.
We're all addicted to something, bro.
So get addicted to killer shit.
There's like, exactly. Like, that's what, like, my brother, he's in active addiction right now. And he's heavy in it, man. And he's in jail. And that's right where he needs to be, bro. He's still, and, you know, will he change? I don't know. I'm a betting man. I'd probably say not. He's 30-something years old, but, you know.
Hey.
You never know. Correct. Yeah,
I got some family.
I'm more speaking into existence. I think he will. Yeah. And you know, I got out of that, and I still didn't know what to do. I was working at a factory. I hated my life. I hated my job. And
you're doing what you had to.
Yeah, you know, you're very. And I was gravitated towards my cousin Victor, who was like my favorite cousin when I was a kid. He awesome dude. He doesn't have any social media. Just fucking gangster. You know. He's a good dude,
nice.
And he went. I remember when he went to prison when I was 12. He had a really, really rough life. He went to prison when I was 12 or 13. At 17, he went in there for some years. He did 12 years. Yeah, man. Came back out, and he was a changed person. He's not a statistic. They say, what is it, like 70% of people repeat within the first 3 years.
Yeah.
He's been out, I think he's 42 now. He's been out like 12 years.
Kicking ass.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
He's a barber, man. And that's what kind of gravitated me towards being a barber was like my cousin, like when my dad died, he became a very influential father figure. And he didn't have to be like this, you got to love Jesus, you got to go to church, which there's nothing wrong with that. He was just very honest with me and very real, and I could be myself around him. And I saw his story and how he just completely changed. And he had such a rough life compared to me. Yeah. Like, dude it was bad.
Yeah.
And he has made this like crazy shift in his thing. And man, to be real, he kind of, you know, I said he picked me up and took me out of that situation. He did that, but like a week before that, he pretty much whooped my ass because I was talking crazy to my mom. Mm-hmm. But I remember him. He was a very positive influence in me. And no matter what he did, or what I did.
Sometimes you just need an ass whooping.
Yeah, exactly. And no matter what I did, he didn't quit on me, man. He was there for me.
He had faith in you. And you know, and it just goes to say, man, and like a lot of people blame external shit for their actions. Oh, it's because of this. This is why I'm like this. This is why I'm addicted to pills. This is why I'm pissed off. This is why I keep getting locked up. You blame it on this and that, and you never fucking look in the mirror.
Yeah.
And you're never like, wait, you're responsible for all this shit.
A mirror doesn't fucking lie.
You're a perfect example. I feel like I'm a decent example. You know, your uncle and shit is like of people that just said, no, fuck this. And you can't really teach that. You know, there's certain things. It's like, how do you teach people to acquire that mindset? And it's just like, tell them to fucking hold themselves accountable and have self-awareness and have that fire. And if the fire's not there, then you're not going to make the change. But you got to want to do it, and you got to take that step forward, regardless how scary or unknown it is. But you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like people now I can look back on that period of my life and be like, that was necessary for who I am today, and I'm glad I went through that. But I can still look at other people that I was going through that shit with that are still in that cycle, dude. Fucking. You know,
10 years later.
Yeah, 20 years later almost. Yeah. So, 10 years later. Yeah. No, I was selling drugs at 10.
Yeah, but it's like the thing is like people, they're like, yeah, I had a rough life. And it's like, yeah, a lot of that, you did have a rough life, but a lot of that derives from your daily decisions. Yeah. And that's what I had to.
I know this is tough. I know it does make things more difficult. Yeah. You know, I mean, but.
We all have, there's some people that have a string of bad luck, but 90% of people make fucking poor decisions and are undisciplined.
Yeah, I own every fucking decision I make, dude. I mean, I made some terrible ones. And I'm just
like, you have these daily choices. You can either choose what to do, and it's hard. And like, that's what she said. And that's the thing is like, I try to do things early that suck. Like this morning when I walked in and I talked to you, I said, hey, you get it in this morning? I didn't even have to ask you if you got it in. I know you did. I know you got up early and you got after it. You did things because you're disciplined. Mm-hmm. You did something that sucked early. Yep. And that's my philosophy. If you do something that sucks early, the rest of your day is fucking easy. Yeah. It's like, all right, cool. You ran a couple miles.
What's the strenuous part of my day? Yeah. What's my training? Okay, let's do that first.
Yeah, and that's what discipline is. Discipline is when you do something you don't want to do and you do it like you love it.
And don't get me wrong, I love doing what I do. Yeah. You know, 4 a.m. is still like I tell myself every night, like, God, 4 a.m. is coming early. But at the same time,
Like,
I'm so glad I'm like in that cycle. It's the best thing for me. But
it's like this morning.
But I love training and stuff. But there are
running.
the days I'm like, I don't want to do that tomorrow morning, but I've committed and I do
necessary.
it anyways. You know,
it's really cool, and I like that goes back to like the drug addict mindset. I think is like they did this study and they gave these tasks to certain people. And they gave them to non-drug addicts and to drug addicts. And they found out was that drug addicts found easier, smarter, more efficient ways to do them, you know, cutting shortcuts or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, and I think, like, people that are drug addicts, if you find a way to channel that into something positive, man, you could, like, sky's the fucking limit.
It could be fighting, bodybuilding,
anything.
Hair,
You become
drawing,
become
anything.
addicted to that, and it's like this whole
Just test
cycle.
it all out, you know?
Yeah, and it's like they're like, oh, we have all these economic crises. It's like, bro, there's an opiate crisis that's just fucking ravishing this country.
Well, the biggest crisis to me are like one of them being opiates and others obesity, but that's a whole other subject. That's the pandemic.
That's a whole nother podcast.
Mm-hmm.
We'll
get there. But no, so all right, man, wild shit, wild story. Man, R.I.P. Frank, dude. You're a powerful influence on this young man, and he is. It shows, dude.
Yeah,
truly.
and
I without this sounding bad, I love that story, but I love the impact it has.
Yeah.
Not necessarily like it's
I think about that moment every day. I
Yeah.
sat in it, and I remember that. Like I said, you remember certain milestones. I got a scar on my arm from a rope swing. My cousin took me out on the lake the day before he died, and I was on the rope swing, and it wrapped around my arm, and I got, you know, and there's a scar still. And you look at those same things, and it reminds me, every time I look in the mirror, I see the scar, and I'm like, you know, look where you were. Like, think about your mindset and set in that moment and, you know, learn from it. And I learned a lot from that moment. I learned, you know, you want to be around for those moments. I was on drugs, bro. I wouldn't have been there. My dad probably would have died alone. Yeah. You know?
Shit, man. It's wild.
Yeah.
Well, so from then on, you went through that phase. We're getting close to the barber stuff. I want to break into, like, what got you into cutting hair? Because it's just, I've never been like, dude, I want to start
to be honest
doing fades and shaping up beards. So what got you into that?
I'd go hang out at my cousin's barbershop. Shout out to Brad's Barbershop in Madison. It's a staple in that community. It's been there for a long time. And as a kid, I'd go in a barbershop and hang out. My dad went to a barbershop all the time and got his hair cut. And I fell in love with kind of the camaraderie in a barbershop because there was people there that my cousin would come into my barbershops, and in my drug lifestyle, I'd see them like in the mix, and, you know, and then you see police officers come in, you see preachers come in.
You get everybody at barbershops.
Yeah, it's all walks of life, and it's kind of like a white flag area. And I just saw the
safe zone.
Yeah, I saw just like kids. Like Victor used to tell me, that's my cousin. He used to tell me like he'd cut a kid, and like 5 years later, you watch kids grow up. And it's like really cool, you know. And I know that sounds cheesy, but it's cool.
That's rad as shit.
You see people grow, and not only that, man. Like a good haircut will make you feel good, man. Like,
it does.
You know, and it goes a long way. And you build a rapport with people.
Well, because I remember you were going around town cutting homeless hair.
Yeah,
dude.
man.
I mean, people need to know that because that's so fucking cool, man.
Before it was fucking cool.
Just so selfless.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you were the first person to do anything like that, and I'm like, next thing I see Landon, you're out there. I mean, I would have helped if.
Yeah,
but, I mean, what am I going to do? Just give somebody a buzz cut? But he's like, here, I'm shaving it.
Yeah,
but
man.
you were out there like
cutting
up homeless dudes. I thought that was so cool, man.
Like a fucking camp chair in this mirror, and I just one day, man, to be honest with you, I was sitting around and I was like, bro, like, you're making good money, but like, what are you doing? Like, it's kind of like not unfulfillment,
giving back. It's powerful.
Yeah, dude, like, and that's what people don't understand is like when you give, dude, and like that feeling you get when you give, it's addicting. Yeah. You know, bro, that shit's addicting, man.
Yeah, like, for sure, man. I agree with you 110%. Something about, and you don't even got to like, looking for no reward in return. Just doing it out of like,
just to give.
This is what it's supposed to be.
Yeah,
you
don't have
the right
to
thing to do.
You don't have to
doing
post
the right
that shit.
thing.
You don't have to post that shit. Fuck
I mean,
that.
I think it's great you posted that because it's setting an example for people.
Yeah,
and I think people, it
helped. Yeah,
it
bro.
started a trend.
Yeah,
so it was cool as shit.
Yeah, it was, and that's the cool thing is like, well, my buddy was like, bro, he was from somewhere in Kentucky, and he was like, hey, bro, I seen you, and I was like, what do you mean? And I guess this lady had sent him or took a picture while visiting Nashville. I saw this guy cutting this homeless person's hair, and she like reached out to me on Facebook. It was like a really cool thing. I was like, yo, that's fucking dope. Yeah. That's
cool. Hell yeah.
But like, you know, and I'd go to my cousin's shop and I'd see the interactions he'd have with people, And I just fell in love with the camaraderie and the process of a haircut, you know. And so, like anything I do and you do, you dive off into it head first and you go 110 miles an hour, you know. I became obsessed with cutting hair. I watched YouTube videos. I would cut hair all night. I cut hair for free. Bro, shout out to the people that were with me from the beginning. Your brother-in-law, Justin, fucked his hair up one time. Fucked it up. It was like my second day in barber school. I was so confident. I was like, bro, I can give you the best haircut ever. We'd been on the lake or whatever, get off, and I fuck his hair up.
How do you feel about that?
Oh, you know, rewarding, because he stayed with me. I still cut Justin's hair. I saw him, I think Justin came in Tuesday. Yeah. And it's cool because, like, I saw one of my buddies out, and he's a black dude, got waves, super picky about his hair, right? And I confidently tell him, yo, I got you, bro. He comes over to my house, and I think I got him really great. I think I sliced him. It was A1. And, dude, I took a picture of it, right? And I looked back on it, and I saw him out, and his name is Michael Wokuji, and he was like, big dude, and he was like, bro, I'm so glad you gotten better. I said, what you mean? He said, bro, that one time you fucked my hair up. He said, I went home and shaved my head. Yeah. And my man had like waves, you know what I'm saying? Brushing.
He was like, screw this, it's gone.
Yeah,
well, you cut me one time.
Yeah, I did cut you on the cheek. I'll never forget that.
On purpose.
It was. We took the razor and just
closed,
nicked you right there.
It's fucked up, man.
And like anything, you know, I became obsessed with it. I watched YouTube videos, and I took that same energy, and it was just like I ran with it this way. And then you see you can make good money, you know, and that's what I mean, I was, like I said, in my previous lifestyle, you were always hustling, trying to figure out ways to make it. Yeah. But what I learned was when I went to other shops, I saw people were just trying to rush through haircuts. And I was just like, you know, in one of my shops that I worked at, the guy was like, hey, bro, you got to get faster. I was like, why? And he was like, you know, you got to cut more hair. And I was like, man, I'm trying to build a business, and I would take my
reputation.
Time. Yeah, I would started taking my time on every
quality,
haircut.
baby.
Yeah, and making sure it was good.
Yeah.
And barbering in the last couple of years, dude, it is fucking exploded. Dude, and like, because when I have this saying that I was a barber before it was cool, you know. And nowadays, you got a lot of people, and it's like, yeah, it is cool. It's a cool job. It's the best job in the world. Like, I literally get to hang out with my friends, watch TV, make people feel good, and I get paid for it.
Dude, I walk into the shop, and everybody's just hanging out, talking.
Yeah, bro,
good music,
happy
there's
shit,
like a
bro.
movie playing.
Yes, the business aspect of it is stressful, but when I'm in my moment and cutting hair, bro, like, I'm happy as shit. Yeah. Like, I'm cutting hair, like, it's nothing else exists in those moments. And that's what's cool about it, you know, and I interact with you, and that's what's cool, like, look where a pair of clippers
open.
Yeah, look where a pair of clippers have gotten me.
Yeah.
You know, it's like a spider web of certain things. You meet certain people. This person knows this person. I cut Justin's hair. He knew you. You know what I'm saying?
I move up here. Justin's like, hey, go to my boy Landon.
I got
boom,
you.
Boom,
we
boom.
start cutting. You have your you know, your tragedy that you turned into triumph, and from that, look at the spider web of things that you've done. You know what I'm saying? You took this tragedy and you turned it into a blessing. You know what I'm saying? You blessed this person, you blessed that person. And
it's all about.
Yeah, and you know, you helped me with my dreams, bro, and I'll forever fucking love you for that.
Well, before we get to that, I do want to say, and I want to relate, you were talking about the quality aspect. And it's something I like am big on too, because I noticed, like, as doing personal training, same shit.
Yeah.
You got people with all these clients, but it's just like, all right, let's double them up, have them do the same thing. And then I kind of look around and I'm like, all right, they've got the same people doing the same shit all the time, busting them through this 30-minute workout. Dude, I'm like, no, when I sign people up, like, especially like a little more advanced, but I'm like, let's do, like, you know, let's take our time with it, man. Let's have a one-on-one session. Let's actually, like, teach you things, give you cues, instead of be like trying to, like, get that money up and do more and more. Instead, let's, like, create lasting clients.
Instead
and,
of
like,
a car wash, it's custom.
And give them some quality. So talking about the spiderweb effect, you know, with the barbershop and how you meet people and things happen. And, like, you know, I went through my shit. And then, so from there, Iconic Culture. We know why you're a barber. I want to hear about Iconic Culture and how that came to be, like, and what you're doing there.
I had this, you know, this always idea of, like, what I wanted a barbershop to be, and what I thought it would be, and what I wanted it to look like. And I was at the job I was at, dude. I was making crazy money. I was You know, 18, I don't know if the IRS is listening, whatever. I was, after paying rent, I bring home 1,800 a week, and I was loving my job. But I just hated the energy that was there sometimes. It felt fabricated and it felt fake. Yeah. And I'm very passionate about the way certain haircuts look, and even haircuts that I don't cut. If they leave the shop that I was, they would leave the shop that I was at, and they'd be terrible haircuts. And I'd be like, hey man, you're not gonna stop and fix that. That's got all our names on it, like our reputation. Like
y'all are on the same roof.
It's a brand. Like I began to care more about that brand than the actual owner did. And I read this thing and it said, you're not ready to own a barbershop unless you treat the barbershop you're at like it's your own. So, I was folding towels, cleaning, I stayed late, come early. And man, it just got to a point where I was like very unhappy with it.
You want to spread your wings.
Yeah, and like that's the thing is like it became like in my brain like you got to do this, and to the point where it made me I was miserable at my job. I hated it, and I didn't hate the guy. I just hated the fact that I was. So and not only that, but like you see barbers that have only been, me. I'm not bragging, but I can cut the fuck out of some hair because I love it and I've put in the work.
Oh yeah.
And you see people with not your same skill set or your same obsession open up a shop, and it's like, bro, like that could be you, but I knew like that what level I could take it to, and I knew what I wanted to do, but at the same time, I probably wasn't ready for it because everything that's going to happen for you and meant for you will happen for you as long as you keep showing the fuck up.
Yeah.
And that's what it was with me. I got to a point, and man, I just kind of hit him with the half-baked, fuck you, I quit. It was before the shutdown happened. I got uncomfortable.
And I remember before that, right after the wreck, I was like, hey, man.
Yeah.
If you ever want to do your own thing, let me know.
Yeah, and it was just kind of like a thing, and like me and you kind of gravitated towards each other on a lot of things. We're very like-minded. Yeah. And not only that, bro, like you're like, I mean, look at you, and you're nice as fuck. Like, that's what people, they probably see you like, oh, fuck that guy. It's probably a dick. And it's like, no, my dude's actually like nice as fuck. Like
Thanks,
super
man.
nice. Yeah.
Thanks, dude.
Yeah. It's like you got a good energy, and we just kind of clicked. And it was just, bro, like I'm saying, bro, not many people can be like, yeah, bro, let's fucking do it.
Yeah.
No regrets or whatever.
I just, when it comes to that, I knew you well, like I said, saw you every week, and we talked for an hour at a time. Like, talked to you more than I talked to like a lot of people. Yeah. And because like I'm all over the place, and I was just like, man, I can tell this guy's held back. I saw like you just like the rapport you had, and I was like, damn, this dude could do some big shit, and like your charisma and like your personality. I was like, damn, and that's what led me to do it. I was just like, man, I just got a feeling. And that's why I said that. I was like, dude, I want to see what this guy.
You literally just said, "Fuck it."
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, you handed me a fucking check. You said, "Fuck it." We didn't have any particulars or any legalities figured out. You were like, "Fuck it," and I was just like, "All right, fuck it, let's do it, man."
That's me. Yeah, fuck it. I kind of live by that quote. I would love to make an RP shirt that just says "fuck it," but it doesn't really apply up here.
I'll wear
masses, but I'm probably just making sure it says fuck it.
Or F it,
Yeah, F it.
Yeah, so it's politically correct.
EFIT. No, but. Yeah, I mean, it wasn't really a second thought. I had full faith, and I was like, listen, dude, what do you need? Give me the number. Let's make it happen. And I said, and it was cool because, like, I tell people about it, and, like, people talk to me about, like, the shop, and I was like, dude, and the best part is like, I don't got to micromanage. I'm not like, hey, like, what are you doing here? Like, you think that's okay? Like, I'm just like, hey, Landon, do your magic, bro. This is yours. Yeah, and, like, you've made it yours, and it's, like, totally not my style. Like, if I had a barbershop, it'd have all these evil work. I mean, because that's my thing. Yeah. But you've made it so fucking cool. Like, I love going in there, man.
It's like my personality's on the walls. You got like Pulp Fiction pictures.
Yeah,
and you got like
tell
Jimi
people
Hendrix.
About the environment in there.
Man, it's just it's a cultural environment. All cultures, and that's why I like the iconic culture is like, the whole culture thing to me is like a collective. Like, I saw the shift in culture when I was a kid. Like, there wasn't a lot of people who knew what sneakers were. And not a lot of people, it was like if you listen to rap, you're like in this certain demographic. But now I think social media and a lot of just the shift in the culture kind of played a part in it. Is like kids like in 6th grade are like, hey, bro, I like your Yeezys, or I like your Ultra Boost. And it's like, yo, like, and they're like these rich white suburban kids, and it's like cool. And it's like, people just want to belong to something. And if you have something that's cool, people will gravitate towards it, because if it's cool, it's all, it's authentic. Like, that's not a gimmick in there. If it didn't work, it didn't work. But that wasn't a gimmick thing. That was just, this is what the fuck I'm gonna do. And if it works, cool. There's no backup plan. Like, I am my backup plan. Like, it's going to fucking work. I'm gonna make it work. And I had people who were like, bro, you shouldn't put that much money in that. Like, you shouldn't do that, bro. Just go this. And I was like, hey, bro, I know you don't know what I'm trying to do. And I had one of my homies like, bro, I'm telling you, you do this, do that. And I was just like, no. And then he walks in there and then he says, I get it. I see what you was trying to do.
You know what? And I love that. And that's why, like, I didn't question it, dude.
Yeah.
Because I know, because I'm the same way, bro. Because it's like, when you go into something full force, you have to go into a full force. And, like, you got to, like, literally block out the naysayers, because there's so many times people are like, well, what do you, would you really want to, like, and I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I'm going to do it. Like, stop giving me your advice, because, like, the only way I'm going to find out if it's going to succeed or not is if I take the chance.
Yeah.
And I'd much rather take the chance than ever questions, like, should I have tried this, or should I put this much into it,
They try to project their doubts onto you.
Yes.
And it's like, bro, get the fuck out of here.
I think, people mean well. They don't want you to get screwed. But at the same time, there's a reason, like, you're doing what you're doing and they are doing what they're doing.
It's like, hey, bro, I got this. Like, this is my obsession. And that's how I knew it would work, because the people coming to my garage was a testament to the work that I had put in previous. Yeah. And when I signed that lease, there was nothing. It was dirt. And people were like, oh, it's not off the main road. It's not off Mount Jewett or Lebanon Road. It's not going to work. And I was like, bro, it's going to fucking work. I promise you.
Dude, and like when we started the process, I gave you the check right before the pandemic shit.
Yeah.
And then that hit, and it was like, boom, dude. Like, we can't find nothing. I mean, it took almost a year later.
Bro, it was a fucking struggle.
I was
and
like, shit, man. But, I was like, hey, it's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. And now it's like, hell yeah, it's good.
It's like, oh, okay.
You just got to have that faith, like, dude,
and it's
things are going to work out.
Yeah, and the spiderweb thing, like, you look at, like, a pair of clippers impacted me and took me to places I never thought, and it, me and you linked up with because of a pair of clippers.
Yeah.
And I look at you changed my life, with investing in that dream. And now it's like I got 7-8 other guys in there that they're feeding their families off this spider web.
Dude, and I was telling somebody about that, and I was like, I'm not bringing, like, some people are very greedy, and they're going to demand this crazy return off of stuff. And I'm like, no, I got to, like.
You're going to make money off of it.
Yeah, but it's like, I could easily put it into something else and made it,
a lot more.
Yes, but I was like, you know what? I go in there and I look around in the barbershop and I just see fucking smiles, and I see you're greeting everybody that comes in and out the door, saying bye or whatever, and everybody's just happy, and I'm like, dude, this is worth it, man. Like, seeing the joy and like the fucking, like, these dudes live their dream. I'm like, dude, this is what it's all about.
Like my boy Brandon,
I care less about any fucking penny.
Yeah, me and him like grew up in the same thing. We were kind of wild boys, and he's in there with me cutting hair, and that's my main fucking dude, Brandon. Like, I love that dude.
Shout out Brandon.
Yeah, man, and like, dude, like he changed his life. He had a lifestyle a lot like me, and now he's a father. He's a great fucking father, and he's a great husband, and he's a great barber. And it's like.
No, I'm just kidding.
And Ethan, I used to cut Ethan's hair when he was a young man.
Yeah.
And now Ethan works at that barbershop,
He's a trip.
Ethan works there. And, and Corey, I kind of met Corey through Instagram, and I reached out to him when we were at Brian's, and because it was like me, I was the only young dude in the shop, and I was like doing types of fades, and I knew Corey was kind of unhappy where he was at. I know how, so I reached out to Corey, and I gave his information to Mike, who partly owned the other shop. They reached out, and it worked out, and then Brandon came out there. Brandon saw me when I was like struggling. I wasn't struggling at G's. I just wasn't as busy. It was my first. I was a white dude in a black barbershop, and that's the whole thing about my shop is like, it's not a black shop, it's not a white shop, it's a fucking barbershop.
Dude, I love it. I go in there, there's everybody.
Dude, we have preachers, we have drug dealers, we have cops, and we have kids, and it's like, bro, like. Any lifestyle, like, you can come in there and it's cool. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, any hair texture, any hair, like, I'm confident in my guys that they walk in there, they'll fucking nail it. We cut Titans. We cut some musicians. We cut Titans coaches. And not only that, we cut fucking, like, people are like, you should do this and do that. And it's like, bro, I got my fucking community won, bro. I won. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
You're doing your thing.
Yeah, it's like you can take on this, but it's like, bro, like if you're not in your community putting in work, like what are you doing? Like,
and that being said, you know, like I said, and it's growing so fast, and like y'all are always packed out.
dude, we don't have any more room. I'm building another station, and we have 9 guys in there.
And we're what? How long is it? It's not even been a year.
No, it's been
we're
December.
Already,
Yeah, dude. And that's the thing is, I kind of wish I would have taken a bigger gamble on myself, and that's the hindsight's 2020, and got the building next to me too, because it's 1,250 square feet. And dude, I wanted 1,600. And everybody was like, "You're crazy." I'm like, "Bro, I'm telling you, it's gonna take off. It's gonna take off quick." Yeah. And it did, and it's
and you're like shit. But hindsight, and at the end of the day, this is like, well, I guess we got to do more.
Yeah.
And so that's why, like, we've talked about in the next couple of years, like other franchise opportunity, like get it growing.
Bro, get it growing.
Do another location.
And like that's the thing is like Brandon and Corey were at the shop that I was at when I quit, and they they took a chance and they left. They were making a
Everybody
great
had
living.
faith in it though, dude.
Yeah, and I think that was like kind of like a collective thing. Is like, no, hey, we're gonna rock with you, bro.
Hell yeah.
And not only that, they know that like it's gonna be fair. Like I'm not greedy. I could put everybody on commission and be making a lot of fucking money. No. Without working. Mm-hmm. And I didn't do that because I didn't want that treatment when I was a barber.
Yeah.
So
you want them to thrive too, man.
Yeah, absolutely. And you want to give people like a little bit of leniency so you can see what they're about.
Yeah, and then over time, you could make more money, but at the end of the day, you're gonna build like by being fair towards the people that are doing all the work, like. They're committed to you. Yeah. Their loyalty is going to grow off of that because they can see that, hey, this guy's not just trying to take my money. This guy really wants me to do well.
Yeah, I invest in the shop. Like since it's open, I think I've put an additional probably 10 to 15 grand extra just in aesthetics. We redid that back wall, got some LEDs, like just little things like that. Not only that, bro, like I'm there. I put in work. I'm there. I'm not there right now, but they're holding it down. Shout out to Felipe, Manny, Tyler, Ethan, Corey and Brandon and Justin, and that's other like Justin.
I'm gonna sneak by.
Justin, Brandon's brother works there. And it's cool. It's like it's a really cool energy in there. We got white people, we got black, we got Spanish, and it's a
melting pot.
Bro, it's a melting pot, and that's what's cool about it. You can't walk in there and be uncomfortable.
Yeah,
you're gonna find someone in there that you relate to and be comfortable.
Yeah, Well, okay, so. Hell yeah. I love it. Iconic Culture shit, like we said, go there. Real quick. So, next.
What's next?
We know about the barbershop. Just to come up, I just want to know, what are some pursuits you have coming up? Just tell us real quick, like what's some things you're trying to attack in the near future.
What I'd really like to do, man, is I think we've established a brand in not only my community in Mount Juliet and the surrounding area, but like in all of Nashville. Like there's a buzz about us, and people are talking, and I think it's either like do I stretch my wings and go into this community and that one, or do I just try to keep building all my eggs in this basket and I got to figure something out because, man, like I said, we're packed in there. We got 9 barbers, about to be 10.
Yeah.
And it's a full house. And my biggest issue is I don't have enough fucking room.
Yeah.
We turn down haircuts all the time, and I fucking hate it. Like, I hate when people leave and like, because that's money walking out the door, or the good news is they'll go to like Great Clips and get jacked up and then come back and get a great haircut. And it's like, this is why there's a fucking wait,
Hell yeah. Well, that's badass, man. And like, time will tell. And I know you're going to like make some big things happen, and we'll all talk about it. And I'm stoked to see what comes from it, man.
Me too, man.
Yeah, you're kicking ass. That being said, we've definitely like just been going on this podcast. It's been a fucking blast, man. Truly. I hate to even cut it off.
I know.
But this just considering how well it went, we're gonna just maybe definitely down the road, we're gonna pick other topics.
We have to do this again.
Oh yeah, we're gonna do another podcast for sure, man. I definitely like to feature people multiple times on here. But Landon, it's been a pleasure, man. Your story is very powerful. Everything you've been through, what got you to where you are now, should be a testament for a lot of those that are out there going through similar things, whether it's death, drug addiction, all the just chaos, because like a lot of people we bring on here can relate to those chaotic lifestyles. And so to see where you're at now is a true testament of who you are down to the core, man. It's powerful. I love you to death, dude.
Love you too.
Anyways, that being said,
don't fucking quit.
Don't fucking quit. That being said, let everybody know where they can check you out at. Like, give them the address and check it out.
The address is 282 Nonneville Road, Mount Juliet, Tennessee. The Instagram for me is Master Splitter 615. The shop Instagram is Iconic Culture Barbershop. Our website is iconicculturebarbershop.com. Shout out to Brandon Carmona, Corey Potter, Justin Bordeaux, Ethan Anderson, Felipe Juarez, and Manny and Tyler Monk. They're holding it down. They're my aces. They're studs.
Solid dudes.
Yeah, can cut the fuck out of some hair.
Yeah, hell yeah. I love it, man. Well, y'all know what to do. Also, keep in mind, relentlesspursuitlifestyle.com, relentless_pursuit on Instagram. Shout out to my boy Cinema83.
Yes,
Logan.
Shout out to Logan.
Yep, always crushing this content. Always, like I said, like
he did a video. He did a video for our barbershop, and it, bro, like
flawless,
fucking killer.
He was showing me something earlier, like on my phone. I didn't even know, like Google Drive, and I didn't even know how to get there. And I'm like, dude, I mean, probably anybody could probably show me how to do that. I'm just very dumb when it comes to technology. But Logan is a killer, and he's man, I love it. So thank you very much, man.
Yes, sir.
But yeah, until next time, we'll see you episode 4. We don't know who's going to be, but also. No, never mind. Just keep it rolling. All right, thank you. Fuck, I fucked up there, man, but whatever.
Dude, that was good. I love that shit.
You cut out that also part.
That flew by.
That was good, wasn't it?
That flew by.
That was fun. Good fucking times, dude.
Bro, that fucking
That went so well.